Hello and welcome back. I've played Fields of Mistria in early access for 469 hours according to Steam. Nice. I think after playing and grinding for materials after about 300 hours, I decided to finally decorate my farm and entire house after the update. I know. Finally. My primary goal in decorating was to show how much you can do by using furniture and decor items from the vanilla version of the game after the first major update, which means no mods. However, you will see only 2 items that are hacked into the game. This means they will most likely exist in future updates and the full release, but are currently unobtainable. I just so happen to know a wizard, which I'll talk about in a decorating tips video, in case you want to get these too. So grab a cozy beverage and let's take a little tour. This is my room in the left wing. Super happy with how it turned out. For my whole house and farm, I wanted to go with primarily neutral and earthy tones. I also wanted to incorporate bits and pieces of the romanceable character vibes into the decorating style. That way, when the full game releases and they move into our house, they can feel right at home. So we have a little shelf for Moth and a shelf for March in this room. A little nook for things found in the mines, along the beach, and little forageables like mushrooms. Over here is a spooky little nook for sharing scary stories over a nice cozy beverage. And this is the main room. Over here you can cozy up by the fireplace with some donuts and coffee to read a good book. There's the tiniest little nook in this corner for my aquarium. And over here is another little corner to prepare for dungeons and drama throughout the week before going to the inn on Fridays to play it with even more friends. In the right wing of our house, majority of this room is inspired by Reyna, Juniper, and Celine. We have a cozy stone flooring placed over the worn wood flooring to create a rustic, kind of cottagecore bakery, kitchen, and dining area. This little area is an herb garden, kind of leading into some kitchen witch vibes, or some nice little herbal creations that you can make to relax in the bath after a long day. Something I mentioned in the update predictions video was how cool it would be to see a bathroom extension to our houses, kind of like the Harvest Moon games. And in this update, we got bathroom furniture, which is really cool because we could just use our imagination and set up our bathroom and kitchen and whatever we're working on to our liking. Something that I would still really like to see in the full release of the game is maybe potentially making some of these objects like the bathtubs interactable. I think that would be super cool if you just went up and it said, "Do you want to take a bath?" You click yes. And then maybe they could lean into the Sailor Moon or Naruto approach when covering up our sprites. So it's just like all bubbles over our sprite, we hop in the tub. I just think that would be a really cool and immersive feature, and maybe it's something that restores our stamina, and that way we don't have to trek all the way to the bathhouse, but we always have an excuse because we can go there for dozy. Anyways, while I was yapping about that, you probably noticed some out-of-place items and are wondering if I'm going to talk about that. As mentioned earlier, everything that you'll see in this house and on my farm are obtainable in the vanilla version of the game. The only 2 items that have been hacked in that will likely come later on is this bubbling cauldron and crystal ball from the Witch Queen furniture set. I couldn't not include them because they fit into this room perfectly. Before we go take a tour of the farm, our last stop is the entrance room. This is an overflow of storage for ores, plants, and coffee for March that couldn't fit in the blacksmithing and workshop station on the farm, which I will share in a little bit. And over here is another reading nook and journaling area inspired by Calderis. And finally, here's our farm. We'll start from the top right and do a little loop around. This is the front entrance leading into town, and this little path will take us over to Calderis' shrine. If you're just getting started on decorating, the Calderis shrine is a good place to start. This is where I started because our dragon boy deserves all the love and attention. Over by the river is a shed, but I like to think of it as a little home to either Junimos or Harvest Sprites that tend to call theirs a shrine. Honestly, I hope we get a Fields of Mistria equivalent because that would just be super cute. Down this pathway, we have a nice little bonfire area in the center of the orchard. I used a ton of the potted spring plants to create a little illusion of extra branches and accent foliage. I'm actually not a huge fan of pink as a color in general, but they kind of look like cherry blossoms, so these will definitely pass. Just past this area is some extra firewood and some chests. For the placement of chests throughout this farm, I try to keep them feeling as blended in as possible so it's not like, bam, one whole storage area. This is something we'll explore in a bit more detail, but I promise the organization and setup will make sense. But for now, these chests have food, because maybe when you're hanging around the campfire, you just want some monster mash that you've held on to since the first in-game year. Yeah, and then you grab some extra logs to throw onto the fire to keep the conversations going. And this works for now since we don't have a fridge in the vanilla game. Makes sense. Logic. Down by the river is a tiny ornamental flower garden and shrine for my senior cat that recently passed away. His name was Jimmy. He was the best. And one small thing that I really love about this is because the shrine is outside, sometimes little bugs will crawl across the shrine, and it gives me a little teary smile because one of his many nicknames was Jimmy Bug. This is my first video after about 2 months of that happening, and all I can say is that this game is so healing. So over here, I also have a little picnic area set up by Jimmy's Shrine, and this is kind of another little way to honor his memory. He loved food, and the first year we had him, one time he stole a muffin off the counter and ate the whole top. We were freaking out because cats should not eat muffins, so we took him to the vet and he was totally fine. He lived many long years after that muffin. But yeah, this also just felt nice to include a few items from the Shooting Star Festival set, just to make it feel whimsical and magical. I love how the little stars kind of trickle onto the tiles of the ground, and yeah, I love these two corners of the farm so much. You'll notice up here that this is all of my crops or farmland. As a seasoned veteran of the game, after 6 or 7 years in early access, I retired thanks to bread. I wish real life could be like that. So now my farmer is just taking it easy these days. I have 2 storage areas over here. The first in this corner is for tools, equipment, animal products, seeds, stamina, and mana potions. I know that you could use them, but I've held on to them for moments I'm doing something that uses a lot of stamina or mana. This is one entrance leading into the ranching area, but I want to show one more storage area. Over here, I have a space dedicated to fully grown crops, fruit, flowers, and herbs. I wanted to keep everything feeling rustic, so I used the mine chests again for all my storage, and I just marked each of these chests with crop signs. Like Stardew Valley, I hope we can see more signs in the future, and maybe it's a blank sign, we just go up to it with an item, and then boom, there's a little pixel art that is pasted there. I would love to see Fields of Mistria adopt this approach too, because it just makes organization so much easier, and it unlocks so many possibilities for decorating as well. And then this takes us over to the ranch. I wanted to create a small illusion of a tiny pond to put my fish in. There's a lot of farm sims that have this option of building a pond, and while I never utilized it in Stardew Valley, I wanted to see what I could create here. So I used a blue fluffy rug, some coral, a lighthouse, and a fish tank to surround this chest where I keep my fish in. I have another area like this over by the barns, I put a chest hidden behind some haystacks with moth lamps and jars of fireflies to have a cute little place to keep bugs, either for museum donations, which I have completed, so really there's no need for a bug chest unless we want to be nice to Luke and give him bugs. Okay, so we have a lot of animals in this area, and we've only used 2 large barns and coops. It's hinted in the carpentry shop menu and NPC Studios roadmap that we'll have the option to expand our farm in the future, which I'm really looking forward to. I'd love to see a bridge cross over one of these rivers so I could expand my orchard and branching area. That way, these guys have all the places to explore. And over here is our witchy little path that will take us up from the ranch to the main road, which I'm really excited to share. I wanted to give this little corner of the farm a marketplace, thrift shop, or flea market kind of vibe. So I set up a little bakery in this corner where I keep all the desserts for Island and raw ingredients to make baked goods. I love that this game lets us place kitchens on our farm, but wish they could do the same for fireplaces too. I'd love to see a wood-burning stove in this little area, but had to make something a bit more makeshift by flipping a bookshelf against a fire brazier to create that illusion. In this next area are chests for artifacts and anything archaeology related. I had so much fun with this little space, and it felt really nostalgic to make since my mom took me to flea markets every Saturday and would lay out rugs very similar to these ones to sell secondhand treasures she found. So this felt kind of like another memorial shrine. And last, one of my favorite corners. It's March's workshop area. He also left some beer up in the forest. This might also maybe be a tribute to Shane. But anyways, this is the area where I keep all my crafting materials from wood, stone, fiber, and drops from monsters in the mines. There's also a lot of nice plants and a little workbench to make it easier to tend to everything. I feel like we covered a ton of ground, and at first I was overwhelmed to even start the process or if I'd be able to finish it. But once I started, it was so easy to get lost in, and by the end, I wished I had more space and items to work with. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and also might consider doing maybe a decorating challenge in the future. What's something you would like to see in a possible future video? A hay bale or maybe corn maze for chickens? A farm inspired by each character? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe and check out my other Fields of Mistria videos because it does help boost this channel even more to cozy gamers like yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.